Hey everybody, welcome to our Monday Night Live webcast. I got Chris Morgan here tonight.
What's up, guys?
Yo, Justin may jump in tonight. It's kind of a weird time. Andrew can't make it. Justin might not be able to make it, but Chris, I'm happy to talk to you and the folks that joined the Q&A tonight.
Yeah, man. I mean, if nothing less, you can always settle for a nice conversation with the freezing Midwest.
Hey, it got warm. It was, I don't know, in the 70s or something here in Atlanta.
Oh man, look at you down in the tropics.
I know. Let's see. Tonight I was playing some fall, which I'm not a super fan. I didn't play any of the Fallouts. I played Fallout 3 for about an hour and a half before I ran into a high level zone and got beat up, and then decided I didn't want to play that anymore. But now I'm really enjoying Fallout 4. It's a way to kill some time.
Yeah, I got up to level 40 before I got caught up doing other things. My brother's playing it a lot right now, and in like a week he got about 5 levels higher than I did. And I was like, oh, and he looks it. He's got that swallowed gamer face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Kent's got a really great question. This is tax, and some people get a little chunk of change back and then want to turn around and reinvest that into their hobby. And I can't fault them for that. I'm probably going to be doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I have an idea. The first thing I want to tell him, but you go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No,
He's
he's wondering what the first thing within a modest budget from Forge World should he get for a 30k word bearers force. And the first thing that comes to mind when it's word bearers for me is Gal Vorback. What do you think, Paul?
Beautiful models. Yeah. If you don't have them, they're pretty powerful and they're great looking models. So that covers everything.
Yeah, they're
not like the Wolfen, which I'm sure we'll talk about, which have terrible models but great rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone looks at the way that the Gal Vorback are and think, why can't Possessed in 40k be this good? And I tend to agree with it. It's a very, very strong unit. It's modeled beautifully. I mean, as much as Grotesque Mutation can be beautiful, but yeah. It's for someone who likes that kind of thing, I say go for it. That'd be the first thing I would get.
I normally wouldn't suggest such an expenditure to anyone. Like I'm real careful about what I suggest, how people kind of spend their money. But if you're playing 30K and you want to do it, you think you're going to go competitively, which I want to talk about that some tonight, especially you're here and it's just me and we're the ones that dig on that, is Spartan.
Yep.
You're not going to not use it.
Yeah. The thing about the Spartan is that it is the go-to transport option if you have a punch you in the face unit that you need to deliver safely. Now, if you don't have a Spartan, if you don't have one of those punch you in the face kind of armies, like the army I'm bringing to LVO, then that may not be worth it to you. But if you're going for that close combat option, the Spartan is the safest way to get them where you need them.
It just holds 25 models, put pretty much anything in it. It holds a Primarch. I mean,
yeah, you can put a Primarch and 10 Terminators and a Primus Medicae in that, and then the pain, so much pain.
Yeah, so I think probably in that order, if Gal Vorback first because there's again so cool. Spartan probably next is what I would go for a Word Bearer's army, but I'd say Spartan for any allegiance.
Mm-hmm. Even without a super assault element in there, the 2 twin-linked quad las cannons are great. Even for they act as a soft anti-air counter too, just because you've got 4 las cannon dice that are twin-linked. Doesn't matter if you're snap shooting.
That's a really good question though about maybe what to do with the hobby, and I think that even if you didn't go the Forge World route, which treat yourself to some Forge World if you don't have it yet, even if you just get one of the campaign books that happens to have something that you're interested in. But the starter sets, the getting started with 40K box sets are really good values.
They are. I was actually really quite surprised at how good a value they were, and they've been selling pretty well. I've been to about 3 local stores since those launched, and I haven't found a single one left.
Oh wow. Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of like a no-brainer. If you want to get that stuff, then
Hmm.
that's the best way to do it.
Yeah,
Especially if
yeah.
you're playing like if you play AdMech or something. That I think that seems to be a really good buy-in.
And they all come with formations for each box too, and not all of them are excellent, in terms of fire-based cadre or any of that super good stuff. But so the Space Marine one seemed halfway decent, and if you're playing at that
I
point
don't
level,
I don't like it. I love that captain though. That captain model is awesome.
yeah. And I mean, again, that's why I say if you're playing at that point level, if your starter box is against someone else's starter box, it's a it's a great formation to have, I'm sure. But I'm not sure that I would see it on a higher level of play or higher point value, I should say.
If you play Marines, that's not a bad box, and that captain looks awesome to me. He's not terribly here was a terribly he's not terribly equipped like most of the other special captains.
Wasn't he missing the signature plasma pistol? I forget.
Well, he's not that good. He's not up there in the ranks of ass kickers. Pardon my French. So he doesn't have a plasma pistol, but he doesn't have like a lightning claw and a plasma pistol. Like that's probably if it was a normal power armor captain.
I need to pull up a picture of this bad boy. That's what I'm doing right now.
Oh no, he's fun. He's like a normal Terminator, but he's got that you wouldn't see on normal. Anyway,
Right.
it's uncommon and it looks good.
Oh, I see. I know which one you're talking about.
Yup. So that would be a good place to start, in my opinion. Let us know what you actually end up doing, though, Kent, because it'd be kind of cool. Bill's saying his wife picked up a Tyranid box set.
Oh no! I mean, it's a great value if there was any value in gargoyles.
A lot of girls that I know that I should say girls, women, ladies that I know that play 40K like the Tyranids. I don't know, maybe something about I don't know. I don't want to draw any comparisons to Tyranids.
Now, my ex-girlfriend, and not in a bad way. My ex-girlfriend wanted to get in on the hobby so she could do some hobbying with me, and she wanted to pick out her first model. I said, all right, here's the website. Let's look at this together. You know the one that she picked that she wanted to get? The Trigon.
Okay.
For her first model. And I was
certainly not, troubling or weird.
Yeah. So she ended up changing to the Shadow Seer as soon as she saw what the price tag was, the Harlequin. But she was like, oh, look at that. That looks cool. I want that. That looks huge. I'm like, all right.
It is big. Yeah. Ken's saying he's running, or Alan said he's running Dante Death Star coming up at a local tournament this Saturday.
Very good. I mean, Dante gets work done unless you're me.
Yeah.
In which case you fail all but one of your attack dice hitting on 3s.
Dante, I'm going to write an article. I almost did it today, but I didn't have time. But I'm gonna write an article about the top 3 things that the Blood Angels need, and I'll do it the same way I did that tongue in cheek for the Chaos stuff, where I'll actually list 5 things.
Right, dude. You need to get me in on that. I want to. We need to talk about this as you're writing it, because there may be some things I need you to put on that list.
It's gonna be the top 7 things, but really we'll still call it the top 3 things. Because the Blood Angels, I mean, look, they're obviously more important to us than they are other people, because we care about, we're invested in the lore for those guys. They're one of the chapters that speaks most to us, but they're powerful on the tabletop, and unfortunately, and tonight too, like the doesn't equate to what we see on the table that much anymore. We're kind of lucky. You're lucky if the background that you like matches the figures you want to play, and you can win a tournament with them, then you are a lucky individual. If you have like Hal Fast and Loose and you don't care what it means or else, same with them. If your top codex has loose enough material to where anything. Then it's lucky for you right now. If you're one of these people that are kind of hybrid, you want to play true to the lore, but you also want to win games. You're kind of in a tight spot right now.
Because basically your choices are Eldar and Tau in that respect.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's not a slight. It's just like
it's the state of the game right now.
Right. And that's why I called this list I took at the end of last year the Fluff Killer, because it had Space Wolves and Dark Wolves in the same list. We know that is taboo, and if you really appreciate, if you are versed in even slightly in the fluff, you know that those two chapters don't get along together.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. I was expecting you to come up with like some kind of meta breaker list that was Thousand Suns allied with Space Wolves Wolfen that would just dominate everything for some reason, and watch
Thousand Suns didn't suck. You could do that
and watch the hate flow. Watch people turn to the dark side.
Call it your hobby burns. That's what the name of it is. Your hobby burns instead of Prospero burns. But with the formations and the way with the actual rules of the game, the Imperial Soup that we talk about, and then just the formation structure and CADs and so that kind of stuff. How do you do that? And so with things like Blood Angels, we want to play them, but if we're going to win a lot, we understand we're not going to do that. So how do you reconcile both things? I think the best way is just to continue to call for change and make everything equal. I want everything to be as over the top as it can possibly make it, and it's that War Machine concept. Everything in War Machine is over the top. I don't like the way the game plays to where that you're essentially just trying to one-shot people. I don't like that for 40K. I don't like that for 40K. But that mindset that everything is powerful.
No, I agree with that, and it sucks so badly that we were the ones that missed out right before they started that up again. The timing was just hilariously bad, considering that we were the oldest codex. We finally get an update, and the next codex after us is just so much more dynamic, and even right down to the quality of the book and the number of pages just increased when Necrons came out, and that was very disappointing for me.
It really. But somebody's got to be that. It has happened in Blood Angels.
Yep,
I was watching your Facebook post with your tournaments. Thanks a lot for posting those pictures. That kind of stuff. And, people that post like that, I should just figure out a way to get them a direct feed.
Yeah, no, I saw a bunch of the update pictures. You're talking about Dean's post, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I enjoy looking at it too, and I especially enjoy seeing his fully painted army. That thing definitely deserved to win that prize.
Yeah, I did hobby-wise this weekend. I did some base swaps. I got, I've been working on my cheap hobby projects, beginning of the year, inexpensive hobby projects, and I did successfully use that Vallejo Black Lava on 14 Terminators. And I did 10 32 millimeter bases to switch some strike squads over, and 2 Dreadknights. And it's looking good. It's doing exactly like I wanted it to.
That's good. I heard someone talking about using that GW brand of the texture paint, the black texture paint that they've got, and just how
it's good
much
too.
How much it uses up though. I mean, if you were to buy enough of that texture paint to base a whole army, you're looking at a lot of money. But that Vallejo one you were telling me about,
if you use the GW sparingly, I think you can get 20, 30 miniatures, 20 or 30, 25 millimeter bases out of the pot. Now that's like really using it with some other effects on the base as well. And but there's no getting around. The Vallejo is like a jug. And it's infinitely more cost-effective and does the exact same thing. It just only comes in certain colors, but I plan on painting it anyway. So, what does it matter?
Yeah, I don't really think that there's a wrong answer so far as that's concerned. And Dean, he's coming back. Cats and Dogs does work. it's kind of funny he mentions this about a duel between the leaders, because I have a buddy who used to play back in 5th edition. At the beginning of 6th, he would combine Space Wolves and Dark Angels, and he would actually have the HQs roll dice against each other before the game to do the duel to determine his warlord for the game. That was kind of funny. Very casual, of course.
Yeah, hey, that's pretty. Yeah. And here's my counterpoint is that people only know the stuff that appeals to them. So, like, when I bring my Luna Wolves, I won't beat this to death. I've talked about it before, but when I bring my Wolves to the table, I have black armor, I have white armor, and then some of them are intermingled, and people look at me like, "What are you doing? I don't even get what's going on here." Like, this is so true to the fluff, and yeah.
No, that's
if the judge,
be like
if the judge doesn't get it, yeah.
Just be like me and have everybody has red armor. That's all you need.
Well, I like my army to look like they all came on the same bus. So I like everything to be as uniform as it's supposed to be. On my Eldar, everything's painted. All the Craft World units are painted like the Craft World, but all the the Aspect Warriors are painted colors indicative of their shrine, even if it's not the exact colors of the book. It's some color that unifies them to what their shrine could be.
Right.
So
even the basing, like the basing can tie an army together, even if there are a bunch of different colors on the actual models themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to be like some of these people, like, read a book, dude. Just like, come on. Like, ugh.
Yeah, a Black Library author's never taken liberties with fluff, right?
Well, some of the stuff, like the colors of the armor, is most of the time, standardized.
I'm gonna give that a solid-ish.
Conrad's coming in from Australia. He says, "How would you guys make a monstrous creature with little shooting and some great unclean wood relevant in games of 40K? They never see." That's a good question. It's a very good question.
I've got a buddy who runs
for the great unclean one. It's easy.
Yeah, and I've got a buddy who runs a great unclean one, and he always shoots for a biomancy, getting the iron arm on there. So you've got a toughness 9 great unclean one, and that with the feel no pains and everything that comes with that. I think that it's pretty solid if it is just a little bit like non-mobile. It doesn't walk around a whole lot. But if you summon it, though, you can pretty much deliver it where you want it.
I think that you hit the nail on the head with the biomancy for the Grand and Clean one. I think you have to use it almost like a goalie. So you want to position him towards the middle of the field in the beginning of the game, and then be able to where you can threaten something or protect something. I think that's the best way to do it. Starbrain, on the other hand, is terrible, and I think he's playable. I know that's not the answer you wanted, but it's just. One of the things I did for Chaos recently was give that kind of wish list about what Chaos should be, and the problem is they're demon princes for Chaos Demons or Chaos Space Marines, and I'm equating the Starbrain to essentially just like a beat up demon prince. Is that they just don't do enough. They're not defensive enough. So by the time that they get 1 or 2 turns of movement in, they're going to get whittled down to where anybody can kill them in any phase of the game. And that's not – they have kind of bad rules for that. I think, Chris, to your point, is you summon them is about the only way to do it. But any other monstrous creature, it's got to have so many wounds or – a 2+ armor save or toughness 9 or something like that. So if you've got less than toughness 8 and you don't move more than 6 inches, then just don't even bother taking them.
Yeah, unless you have something in your backfield you desperately need to protect. But I mean, even that, it's just I hate playing on the defense. I hate playing like I'm trying to hold something. I always like to move forward with my models, push them across the table, and do work with them there. So. I'm
obviously, we're talking about things that can summon other things that's different, slightly different, but it's the same kind of mindset. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I finished.
Oh, that's cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there. But
Very
yeah,
good.
it's just such a you're fighting an uphill battle simply because the volume of fire and the rules of the game are against you. No matter what your creature can do, outside of these few things that we talked about, the rules of the game are so slanted against you. It's not even funny.
In
But
a
I think the Great
pre-grav
Unclean would go.
world, yeah, in a pre-grav world, those did a lot more work than they do now.
They can't even, not even the grav. I mean, everything kills them. Bolters, shuriken catapults, string 7 shots from Tau. I mean, you name it. Every single thing in the game kills things like that.
Just think about, for example, the Iron Arm version of the Great Unclean one. It's toughness 9, right? Grav doesn't care about that. Scat bikes, they wound that on 6s, and then there's the save and the feel no pain. But when you get right down to it, Grav doesn't care about how tough you are. I mean, pretty much like the toughest monstrous creature you're going to get for Chaos, I feel, is the Scabathrax. Are you familiar with his rules, Paul?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Or he's that giant toughness 9, Great Unclean one with all the ins and a 3+ invulnerable save. Like that guy.
Yeah, he's tough. He's cool, but he's a lot of points too.
He is expensive as all Hades, but he is scary.
Yeah. I have this right here also. I wasn't planning on talking about it, but yeah, it's just so, I don't know. I love to see that kind of stuff on the table. And I have a buddy here who's participating in a slow grow league, and he wants to play Chaos. So what I promised him is that I would go down in my bits box and shake out a Demon Prince for him. And because you can I love the way they look, and you can basically make them out of anything. I made this one. I hate to talk about it. It's upstairs. I showed my wife because she doesn't really care, but she pretends to, you know.
True love.
Yeah, but it's I used a Forge World Plague Troll and the arm of a River Troll and the arm of a Demon Prince and the mask of the Dark one of the masks with like the hoses coming off of a Dark Eldar Talos. So now I'm at a point where I need a couple of bits. I need to get a couple of Demon Prince shoulder pads. I only need one shoulder pad, but I don't know which one's going to look the best. It's got the Plague Troll has a shoulder pad that goes over one of the arms, but one of the arms just has a connector to the shoulder joint. I need to cover that up to make it look a lot better. And I've got to find something to use for wings. I think I'm going to put Orc rockets on it as jetpacks.
That's a neat idea. Now, I mean, personally, for a Demon Prince, I love all of the undead stuff that came out for Warhammer End Times. They've got a bunch of neat-looking kind of skeletal wing demon things that I think make perfect conversion opportunities for Demon Princes.
Careful, because like you're the fluff guy and one of the favorites. People get mad at me when I talk about turning everything into a Demon Prince.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm pretty comfortable with that as an option. It's not like, zombies are a thing in 40K, right? I mean, who thinks that the undead are
a thing?
Right? That's exactly my point. That is exactly my point. Try and tell me that a clever conversion doesn't work if it's clear on the model and it shows an interesting theme.
Yeah, like I completely agree. And so, but I love the fact that you can do that, especially with Chaos, and it invokes certain feelings of people. Like I showed this to some people, and I'll put this like on Twitter, right, on Warmaster_TPM, and people are like, Chaos is supposed to be so expressive, like they're bringing their own opinions to it, and I think that's cool. Because I mean, it was criticizing me, so that the faceless mask made it not expressionful. Is that a word? It was too expressionless.
Okay, all right, we'll go with that.
Yeah, and so, but I love that we were able to have that conversation. I do. I love that's what's one of the awesome things about this game is being able to have that kind of conversation.
I ran into the same thing when I was putting a death mask on my 30K Legion Praetor, and someone was trying to call me out and say, "Oh no, you can't put death masks on Blood Angels. They didn't exist." And I was like, "Fool, check out Fear to Tread. I got this. You can't outfluff this."
I think I'm going to make that was it the Warden in the Calth box into a Praetor. I might even make that Maglahurst for Meduna Wolves. I'm gonna
the Malagers, yeah, okay.
I'm going to convert him a bit. Obviously, because he's a standard and a sword.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you guys have been following me on Facebook or on Twitter, you'll see that I've been doing a lot of Blood Angel stuff for my 30K force. And that Warden model that Paul's talking about, it's this one right here. No one can really see it. But it comes together really well. And the cloak comes in separate pieces. And a lot of times you have some very, very obvious gaps and things like that when you're putting it together. That model went together so seamlessly. I barely even had to green stuff any of the seams on that. It was very, very well done.
That's nice. Chandler, good to see you, man. What are your impression of the Wolfen models? The rules were obviously fantastic. These guys, they're going to make a splash. I don't know how much of an impact they're going to make, but I think they're definitely going to make a splash. As you beef them up, they become more point intensive, and you're really committing to it. But I'm fine with that. Committing to assault is what you have to do. I'm completely fine with that. I just don't know what the long-standing impact they're going to be. So, Chandler, I'm curious what you think of the models themselves.
I'll tell you, Paul, I'm going to reserve judgment until I see them and maybe have them in my hands, because the pictures just aren't clear enough for me to get a good enough idea of really deep down what the models are going to be like.
Look, maybe they were built, and so if they don't go together with just like one configuration, if we're able to really get modular with them, I think they're going to be awesome. Because even you can disguise a bad face with some cool posing, or whatever. But this guy, the guy that doesn't know, I don't know what to do with my hands. I can't get behind that guy.
The Shakespeare wolf with the skull. Oh, Mercutio, I knew you well.
That's the wrong play, but you're close.
That's kind of the point. That's the Space Wolf's understanding of Shakespeare.
Yeah, Gabriel's coming in with the Dark Eldar Codex is terrible, and probably need to do a top 3 on that too. Although some rumors from Dark Eldar have come about, and I mean, I don't want to talk about it because it's way too unsubstantiated. Especially the saying it's like Q4 of this year.
Yeah, there's some outrageous rumors as a part of that. I wouldn't trust any of that personally.
Yeah. So yeah, we obviously got some cool, interesting, just kind of pieces we can do for articles. I think it'd be fun. Now that we're doing it, we're actually putting on forgenarrative.net. We're writing a lot more articles and a lot more content. So check us out over there. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, we've got some pretty neat articles up there so far, and we've got some awesome guys contributing a lot of different kind of things that you can find on there. I mean, it's not just stuck into one type of article over and over again. There's a lot of variety there. Hopefully, as we get going, we can create a big database of cool hobby and tactics and all of that, fluff, and anything you want to talk about, you should be able to find there.
That'd be nice. I mean, we're probably getting 2 or 3 articles right now a week, but people are going and checking it out, and some activities. So please be a part of that if you're not already. So 30K. Let's jump right into that, because I know I've been kind of just blabbering on about some other things. This weekend is the LVO, and there's a 30K Horse Heresy event. Here in Atlanta, I have a good buddy who's throwing a 30K Horse Heresy event, and he's doing it just like an introductory to get people, and he's giving out an amazing prize. First set is going to be a Betrayal of Calth box set. First place is going to be a Betrayal of Calth set. Second place is a unit of Justerian Terminators.
That's some sweet prize support.
Yeah, the buy-in is $10, and that comes with lunch. So it's like he's doing this all out of his own pocket just to get people interested in this area in 30K.
That's awesome, and I am honestly not that surprised. When I get some more time, I'd like to start a league over in my area too for 30K, because I've found since Betrayal of Calth has come out, there's a lot more people that are talking about, I want to get these together, I want to start playing. Like, we're starting to see those guys come out, and it's been enough time that some of these armies are getting painted up. You were mentioning the LVO. I've been painting up just for that, and it's been a ton of fun. I just finished 20 Marines that were out of that Betrayal of Calth set, and they're really well-made kits. Such a great deal from that box.
I'm going to be making reavers out of that. One of the things I did this weekend was try to clean up my hobby area. Now, I spent maybe 2 hours in the area, and you can't tell I did a thing. Please let me know. I can't be the only one. So if you guys in the chat, please let me know if your hobby area is as wrecked as mine. When I do, I got about an hour more cleaning, and then I'm going to build 15 reavers.
Now, are you putting chain axes on those guys?
Well, these are the Sons of Horus reavers, and I'm going to equip them with bolters for the Bane Strike ammo.
Okay.
So it's going to be bolters and jump packs, and then going to be a couple of guys with Power Fist.
Yeah, because I remember those guys did have a chain axe option, like for 2 or 3 points to upgrade them, like replace the combat knife with an AP4 chain axe thing.
I will not be doing that.
Okay.
No, I think these guys are better used looking for the AP3 bolter shots. But who's to say?
No, I think that's perfectly fine, and they get that. It's AP3 on a 6, right? 6 to wound.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yep.
Yep. No, that in a world of 3+ armor saves, that is golden.
Yeah, and if you take Malgahurst the Twisted, then they're troop choices.
Yep. It's basically like the Sons of Horus' own personal version of the Veteran Tactical Marines. Do those guys have the pseudo objective secured rule?
I don't think it's Implacable Advance.
That's the one.
They don't, but they since they're troops in things that get the scoring or whatever, where troops are scoring, they'll count. That's the way it's phrased in 30K.
Okay. No, I just wanted to be sure, because I know that, especially with the new Forge World FAQ that came out for 30K, it's a 10-page FAQ that they released in January. And if you haven't seen it yet and you're planning on playing 30K, go check it out, because it's got some really cool stuff in there.
Yeah, I think it's great. If Malgahurst is also counted as he's counted as scoring where in any mission where troops are classed as scoring units. Can argue with that. And he also lets veteran tactical squads and Reaver squads may be taken as troops in that detachment.
Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. He himself cannot run or make sweeping advances, but he can take all this fast-moving stuff as troops.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you get all cripplified.
Yeah. He has a Legion Standard. Do you know what the Legion Standard does?
Legion Standard, I believe it allows rerolls on morale tests and also adds to your score in resolving close combat, like who won.
Does it give a 12-inch buff of anything?
I believe that the 12-inch buff is for the reroll on morale tests, but I'd have to get my book out. I can go get that real fast.
Yeah. Chandler's saying it's really going to, for talking about the Wolfen, this is really going to depend on where they fit. Elites or troops are going to be elites. And although we don't know what kind of formation we're going to get for those Wolfen. But I think the box set is going to lend itself to some really easy to do conversions too. The Space Wolves have been blessed with that, with their kits.
Oh yeah, there's no way that people aren't going to be able to find a fairly easy way to make those guys look good. Yeah, absolutely. So back into 30K. I know I'm switching gears, but I want to make sure I hit that. I asked him a question. I didn't want to ignore it. The Reaver squads, what they have are they're fairly cheap. They're 135 points, and you can take 10 additional Reavers for 15 points each, and they got 2 attacks apiece. You following me, Chris? Yes, sir.
What we were talking about in the world of 3+ saves, a lot of the squads can take people that have can also take Artificer armor. Mm-hmm. And that's big because it puts that 2+ roadblock in a world where people are having trouble getting through a armor 3+.
Well, and that's what I've done with every single one of my tactical sergeants for my LVL list has that Artificer armor upgrade. Because having that 2+ in there, if there is something that's coming at me, that I need that to kind of shield myself, create kind of a wound block that's the perfect way to do it. And it means you don't have to have 5 billion 2+ armor save independent characters floating around everywhere, because so far as list building goes, you're really limited in that.
You can take jump packs on these dudes for an extra 50 points. Once you put 15 of them, it becomes 3 points a piece, something like three and a third points a piece or something like that for a jump pack. To me, this squad is just hands down better than a tactical squad.
I would agree with that. If only for that pseudo shred rending thing that they have that makes
you have
them
to pay for that, though. The Bane Strike bolters are 5 points each. So that does bump the cost up.
Okay, so here's what your Legion standard does. All of the controlling players' units with the Legion and the Astartes special rule within 6 inches of a Legion standard, including the bearer, are fearless. So that's handy.
That's big in this game where sweeping is a possibility.
So definitely worth checking out.
They can get the chain axes for 1 point apiece.
1 point. Okay. Well, I mean, 1 point isn't so bad, but honestly, it's a point you don't need to spend in a world of AP4 chain axes and 3+ armor saves, unless you find a lot of solo.
This unit has the rule called the Assassin's Eye. A model with this special rule uses the precision shot and precision strike rule.
That's very handy too if you want to pick out some of those, say, Primus Medicae models or the Apothecary models, because you can take those guys for 1 elite slot. You can take 3 apothecaries, and the way that they work is there's only certain units that they can attach to, but when they attach to it, they aren't an independent character. They can't leave the squad. They're just another character. So it's a little bit harder to pick those guys off.
I really hate that none of the squads that I want to play can take a medic.
Well, that's why you go with the Primus Medicae, because that guy can go with anybody.
Oh, that's good. I'll keep that in mind. Well, so that's in the regular Legion section.
Right. He's one of the console upgrade options. So just like you can take a chaplain or whatever. So he has to be a non-compulsory HQ. So you have to have someone else instead.
Can you take a jump pack?
Mm-hmm.
He can't take a jump pack. Okay, good.
Yeah, you can give him a jump pack. You can give him a jump pack. You can give him a scimitar. You can give him the Outrider bike. Like, he can take almost all of the upgrades that a console can, and then he confers a feel no pain. Like putting that guy with Horus and a bunch of Justaran Terminators and a Spartan, for example, seems good.
Yeah, Horus is probably going to take a lot of that punishment. He has feel no pain. I believe, right?
But he has it will not die. And
that's right.
I believe he gets to re-roll that. But the feel no pain, you've got the Justaran Terminators that have the 4+ invulnerable save. Of course, they got the 2+ armor save. You add the.
That's right. Yeah, Horus does not have feel no pain.
So I know his armor does a lot of cool stuff, but the feel no pain is not it. He may get a re-roll on his it will not die, but that's either him or Vulcan.
That's a good catch. That's why I don't play with the games that I've played have not always been with Primarchs, although it feels like I should just be playing always with Primarchs.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of one of the reasons that it's fun to play a Legion that doesn't have rules yet, is because it's forced me to take what I have and create kind of a different sort of army than what's conventional right now. And conventional is a very loose term because 30K allows for a lot of lists to be successful. But I have, and the fluff that I made for my 30K force is that it's a artillery siege company that didn't make the mustering for Cygnus because they were caught up in a battlefield. So I have a lot of ranged firepower and a lot of dudes. So the idea is the Thud guns and the big tank, the Fellblade, the Sakaran, the Deredeo Dreadnought I've got in there. They're all ranged shooty things. And I've got dudes and rhinos that would go in and charge through whatever, holes they would open in the enemy's lines.
One of the questions that we got, speaking of rhinos, one of the questions that we got offline asking us to talk about tonight or in a reply or whatever was how to use mechanized Marine forces effectively.
Tell you what, the most effective mechanized Marine forces were 3rd edition when you could charge out of damn rhinos.
Okay, well, currently if I were to use a mechanized Marine force, I would think of my rhinos as two things. They're not just troop transports; they are their own weapons, and they are mobile terrain.
Definitely.
I think that's probably the when you make that mind switch, that transition to thinking they're not just there to deliver the troops, that you can actually use them as annoying. I said the mobile terrain is huge. Remember, it's kind of difficult now to blow up a vehicle, especially a rhino. I mean, there's the things you're going to be shooting at it will most likely hull point it out. So even if you don't expect it to live long, you can still make sure it's always in a position to benefit you, even if it's left there as a wreck.
And that's when it goes back to what we're always saying about the movement phase being the most critical, because especially if you have a lot of mech that you're driving around, like say a Space Marine demi company or battle company, then you've got a lot of vehicles that you're moving around. And if you don't position them well, you could end up blocking some of your own tanks from delivering the troops that they need to deliver when they need to deliver them. So you have to
remember in the rule book, there's no takesies backsies on movement. And now we all play in a different way, so we let people take it back or whatever, but it really is almost like chess. Once you've moved that model, it's moved.
I haven't met anyone who plays it that way, as long as you're still in the phase. But if you're looking at it literally, then someone could say something like that, and you really wouldn't have an option.
I'm not telling you how to play. I'm reinforcing your point that you really can bone yourself if you don't really plan out your movements. And in a strict, I've never told someone that they can't take a move back. I've never done that. I've got a really good kind of spatial awareness, so I can give you pretty much where the model was. I'm not really worried about it. Now, if somebody's doing a shuffle where I can tell that their models are creeping in a different direction, that's a different story altogether.
Yeah.
But the actual rules of the game is that you can't take your move back once you've made it. So to your point, be really aware of what you're doing.
Yep. And especially there are some things that you don't think about when you're moving, like flyers. I've been running the Angel's Fury Spearhead lately, and you can always tell when a player is familiar with flyers that have things inside them, because they will position their models around your base to force you into an uncomfortable position to deliver those troops.
Yeah. When somebody's just like beating you in the movement phase, it's just like, I need something to go my way right now.
And I tell you, layers upon layers of worthless Tau dudes in front of the things that I want to charge, and I was
a happy man. Yeah. I don't know if you were playing during the time when you couldn't jump pack over troops.
I started in third, so
that was it. Yeah, you couldn't jump pack over troops until 4th edition.
Sounds about right. I didn't have a whole lot of jump Marines back then.
I played one assault squad, and it was weird. One assault squad with a priest, and then Death Company with jump packs.
Oh yeah.
When that
double lightning claw priest.
Lightning claw priest. Yeah, that guy was a champion for me. Absolute destroyer of lots of things. That was another way to get rerolls, where you didn't get that much.
Yeah, they kind of hand rerolls out quite a bit. That's one of the things in my 30K list that I've built a lot of, because you have the direct fire option with the Thud guns, which is the Strength 8 AP4, but it's got Sunder, so you can reroll against armor pen for vehicles and buildings.
What is this?
It's the direct fire mode on the Thud guns, the Legion Rapier batteries.
Oh, the Legion. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
So you take, I've got a squad of 3 of them, so that's 12 shots that are Strength 8 that I can reroll armor pen on. So even if I'm looking at armor 14, with that reroll, I can still shave a bunch of hull points off stuff.
Shaving hull points is good unless it's got ceramide, or is it the flare shields?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that's why I have a lot of it. That because when I built my army, we were talking about it earlier. The Spartan, you got to build an army that can take down a Spartan if you need it to, right? If you
When you're
don't
playing in a
have one,
tournament, you either need to be the guy with the Spartan or have a way to defeat the Spartan.
exactly. So my strategy has the Fellblade, which can take down a Spartan, at least hurt a Spartan, and then I've got sundering shots that are coming in from the flanks. So the Fellblade that has the best chance of hurting the Spartan dead on, and the sundering shots going in against the side arc, which doesn't have that flare shield benefit, means that I have a good chance of taking away all 5 of those hull points.
Yeah, pretty good. That's a really good way of thinking about it. I'm excited for my Blood Angels being in 30K also, just like you are. I have prepared a close combat Contemptor Dreadnought with 2 Flamers just for the occasion.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be my plan. Without a better option, that's going to be how I deal with the Spartan.
No, I would love to get a Lucius pattern drop pod. That might be something that I do with my tax return, is get that Lucius and throw
it's
a
very,
Contemptor.
I mean, we've had Andrew on the podcast, and he's a big fan of those things. And they really, when you use them to basically how they were intended, they are very good.
Well, you know what's been shaking up the 30K scene lately that I've been following on the forums is that Leviathan Dreadnought in the Lucius pattern drop pod with that giant graviton thing.
Man, I just don't, it's too many points.
No, I think it's expensive, but it's been killing a bunch of those super powerful Mechanicus armies that are out there.
Okay. I'm a big fan of Mechanicus as well, which you guys know.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the game-breakingest thing in 30K, but I'm just saying that people have been making use out of it, and that's good.
I don't think it's that bad. I think you have to. I mean, I'm trying to build it out of actual Mechanicus units, and that's why it's going real slow. Because to build the super broken stuff, I think you got to get those really, really expensive models.
And we all know that's what the TPM wants.
The super broken stuff. Look, I mean, some of the robots are fun to play with, and some of the ones that look good don't really do much. But the Thanatar, I'm a fan of that original Thanatar still.
No, that thing's good, and they FAQ'd so that it actually has the gun that it's holding on its shoulder.
Yeah, we all knew that for sure. But the conveyor, man, if we really do get a new Forge Roll book coming out soon that allows the 30K units to be taken in 40K, like really seamlessly without fudging anything or us squinting our eyes and pretending, that it's supposed to be there, I'm going to be really, really happy person because I'm using a consistent color scheme across 30K and 40K, and it will be fun to fill them all together.
I tell you, if they do that, I may be tempted to get a Falchion, the super heavy. If that ends up being a 30K unit,
why
I
a
can take
Falchion?
40K. Because it has some of the only ignores cover that Space Marines get, and it's a good ignores cover because it's a 48-inch line that's 2 inches wide, strength 8 AP2 ignores cover haywire, like that thing. And it does, okay. Yeah, it does extra damage to super heavies. So if you shoot it at and the line will stop at the super heavy, but it will take an extra like D3 hull points off of it, on top of the haywire and the strength 8 AP2.
That's not bad. That could be kind of interesting. I was referring mostly to the rumors of a Cult Mechanicus AdMech transition.
Yeah, and the book that I heard about that they were going to do is they were going to use the Red Scorpions as a vehicle for bringing in some of those 30K units for the Marines, and then have a Skitarii thing that's tied in the old Mechanicus stuff or Mechanicum stuff into modern 40K Adeptus Mechanicus.
That would be fun. I think that'd be. I mean, the units. I don't think the 30K Mechanicum is all that bad. I think it's kind of obnoxious sometimes in a Marine-based game because you just get more guns than the Marine player gets. I think you outnumber the Marine player.
Yeah, there's some things in there that make it very frustrating because the Mechanicum units have better morale than the Space Marines. You've got a unit of those tech thralls, those guys I'm talking about,
Mhm.
basically the most mundane sort of troop you have, and those guys are fearless and come in packs of 20. So
Yeah.
you throw them at a Primarch or something, he's going to spend, he'll kill them, but he's going to spend the whole game trying to cut that grass with his fingernails. You know what I'm saying?
I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I guess I hadn't really seen that play out yet because I haven't played enough games. But yeah, that's definitely something you can do. And you do take, like, the way I've been doing it is taking a navigator or something, just to fulfill that HQ slot, and then whatever lets me buff out the closest thing or whatever. And then with Thanatars and conveyors and stuff, I mean, I've been playing more of a, I guess, fat-bodied, chunky units instead of getting real finessey with it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that or doing it the other way. It's just one of those things that Marine players have to deal with. Is if you want to take care of the thralls, you want to shoot Fury the Legion or something at them. Just make them roll saves until they're all gone. Don't let them touch you.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Yeah, I don't. In 40K, I don't think they'll be very overpowered at all. I think it will be just something else to do.
Right, and that's another thing. Addressing people who have concerns about bringing those 30K, bringing a 30K list to a 40K tournament. Personally, I'm all for it.
Anybody who's not for it, and I'm going to make a blanket statement, and I apologize in advance. Anyone who's not for it is just not familiar with 30K.
Yeah, I think it has that Forge World name on it, and people are kind of stuck in that old idea that everything from Forge World is like the nth degree than what
not
comes out. That comes in with 40K, and I find the reverse to be true. The last two and a half years is that the Forge World stuff seems to be 100%. Actually done more carefully.
Yeah, when you look at it now, you look at units that you might have considered to be crazy in the past, and you think, man, this is just not very point efficient.
Well, look at how your opinion changed on the links.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, it's Forge World is not the boogeyman anymore, where I know that in the past it has been the boogeyman, a few exceptions, but no one bought the loader Sentinel. But we did buy, I did buy a unit of Thud guns and 6 sabers, or whatever. That's people bought that, because that was really good. Let me tell you, when I put 115 hits on somebody or whatever with a unit of Thud guns, like
there's bad feelings. Like for guard, how many Thud guns can you have in a unit of guard? Just out of curiosity.
It's 3 per unit.
It's 3, right? So you got 12 small blasts. It's so good.
Yeah, it's great. Well, but that was the only thing you could do, and you took Space Wolf allies, so you would prescience them or whatever, and then it was just the person I played it was a great idea. They were going to deep strike in behind my mana cores and wanted to shoot the mana cores so I wouldn't be able to bomb out their units on the other side of the field. Well, they came down in a perfect deep strike formation, and then they shot the mana core, killed one mana core, and then I bombed them into oblivion. They had 3+ armor save, but with 115 hits. Let's go pick up some models.
Law of averages. There's no getting around it.
Yeah, and that's the weight of dice is something that's becoming more and more in 40K. We'll talk about this probably this week on the show. And it's like how to build. Maybe that's something we do. We talk about how to get some of these more ponderous, fun to use creatures into combat, or making again how to make assault do what it's supposed to do, and how do you make your power stuff matter. Like maybe because I find it really difficult, like when I'm playing a guy who's used to just wiping people off the table with his shooting, and then when I build armies that don't crumble to that shooting, they get mad at me.
Oh, they get so mad.
Yeah, and it's I've been accused of not rolling my dice appropriately.
You know they're reaching when you go like that, it's like, what are you doing? Are you
Yeah.
Are you like holding the 6 side up and then putting it on the table and be like, shake it a little? I rolled
It's
it.
like, well, let's just assume like I have a 2+ armor save. When I roll the 1 and then I pick the die up and it happens to be a 5, I'm still well within the realm of average rolling.
Yeah.
On 2 dice. But
I
they do things like they get weird, man. And I had to keep myself from having a light talk with somebody recently where he was like, well, don't jet bikes come on bigger bases? And so I should hit more models with my blast template? I said, get out of here. Like,
put them on bigger bases and just spread them further and further apart. I don't know. Whatever.
Like, I'm on jet bike bases. Like, like, no, you don't get to rationalize the fact that you're only hitting 3 of them because you think they should be on bigger bases because the models you bought in the 80s happen to come with a bigger flying base.
I don't know, man. But yeah, you build a Death Star army like that. Like my Rex Star, my invisible Rex Star, made this Necron player who was so confident. He was so confident that he would live through an assault that he put a unit of 20 warriors infiltrated right in front of it from that Warlord trait. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he put that unit of 20 warriors right in front of the Death Star and said, "Charge me." I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
Well, wiped them all out in one turn.
What else are my Blood Angel Terminators going to do?
Yeah, it's like, so I got Terminators, I got Librarians, I've got a whole gamut of nastiness, and I'm rolling, and I've got a Chaplain in there, so I'm re-rolling all my hits. I'm re-rolling, the dude was just crestfallen.
Yeah, but I get it. I really do get it though. Like, there's nothing worse when I'm playing an assault army when I go up and just give you all I got and you don't remove any models or I don't do whatever I intended to do. But that's Warhammer.
Yeah, and
you've got
to be ready for that. You've got to be ready for that. And, I mean, the game has come to the point where there are going to be bad matchups, and you have to accept that your army isn't going to do great against everything.
That's good mission design. That's which I did. I actually started going back and updating and editing the people's missions for this edition of the game.
Yes.
Dean saying the only time he ever had a player concede on turn 1 was a Tau player that failed to murder his Wolfen Angel Star. Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yep. That is pretty much, those lists, and that was, again, I designed them. The original Super Friends list, I designed it specifically to just wring the necks of Tau and Eldar that were choking the life out of the game.
Well, and the funny thing is in any of those situations, especially where you're relying on psychic buffs, if one Calexis assassin is all it takes to just ruin the entire thing.
I've been the victim of that, and it is very depressing.
Right. So nothing is safe. Nothing is sacred, people.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, guys, we're at the end of the show. I really appreciate everyone hanging in here tonight. It's just me and Chris jibber jabbering, and thank y'all very much for the questions. I really like seeing everyone's hobby stuff. So let us know you in a message or on the contact form. The contact form on fortunerator.net been getting a lot of use recently, and it's been fun interacting with folks. I know I mentioned that last week, but it's continued, and I'm really enjoying it. I need to get that maybe sent out to all of us, but we'll see. But send us your ideas on how to make some of these big creatures that only move 6 inches work, and what your success has been. Chris, you got anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I'm just happy to spend some time with everybody. Took a small break from my hobby overload. Way excited for LVO. Hoping to bring some nice coverage of that next week.
If you're in the Atlanta area for February 7th, it's Super Bowl Sunday. So keep that in mind. The organizer for that 30K event I was talking about has promised to get everyone out of there by 6 o'clock Keystone kickoff. And there's a sports bar right next to there. So even if you don't live really close by, maybe you can jump over there and get that. But come to the event's going to be good, and the prizes are going to be awesome.
You going?
Which is what we love to see. There's a couple of contingents. I just realized that Adam has my Horus, and so I don't know what I'm going to take.
Okay.
And I'm also throwing a little get together here at the Murphy Homestead for Super Bowl. So it depends on what I can get done on Saturday. It's a very, very small get together, just couple of people. So it depends on what I can get done on Saturday to be ready for that. But
Right.
I want to play, and my goal this week is to build those Reavers so I can take them and use them there.
Sounds good. I'll get some hobby pics once my army's all put together, and we'll put them up on the Facebook. You got your Luna Wolves, and we got our Blood Angels.
Sounds good. Well, guys, y'all have a good rest of y'all's night. Well, we're going to be talking on Wednesday. So if any topics you want to suggest for the show, for the podcast show, please send us in there. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel.
Do it. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, everybody.